Hey, welcome back. Tonight we're going to talk about surface modeling. We're going to use several guide curves, several sketches. We'll create a surface loft. We'll create a surface knit to make sure that all of them fit together, a surface fillet, a surface fill, and we'll use the thicken command. We'll also do a little bit of analysis to show you some zebra stripes and how your surfaces meet one another, as well as some material properties to find out what this thing, if it actually has any mass when it's a surface model. So let's go ahead and get started. Make sure that you got SolidWorks open. We want to create a new part. We want it to be in ANSI inches, pounds per second. So once we get that, our first sketch is going to be on the top plane. So I want to come over to the top plane icon, select it, don't move, the flyout pops up, select sketch. It's going to orient normal to you. I want to come grab a center rectangle command. Mouse click in the origin, hold it down, pull it out, and release it. Then now we want to move on to dimensioning. So smart dimension, upper line, pick your upper line, and that's going to be 4.5, and our vertical line is going to be 2.5. Alright, so I want to add some sketch fillets to this as well. So I come select a sketch fillet, and I would like for that to be 0.38. And I don't want to pick all four corners individually. What I want to do is just draw a selection window around the entire sketch, and it's going to pick all four of them for me, and I accept it. I look down here and I'm fully defined. It's what I want, so I exit my sketch. I'm going to click out in the modeling space and then use a Control-7 command to where I can have an isometric view. I'm going to zoom it out just a little bit because our next command we're going to create some more reference geometry. We're going to create a plane. So if I drop this chevron down, it gives me several options in here, but in this case I want to use a plane. So select a plane, and now it is asking for my first reference. Normally we have to add in 3, but sometimes we can define it with just 1. So I want to use the top plane as my first reference, and I also want the offset to be 9 inches away from it. I want to make sure that my offset is up vertically from it and not down below it. So if yours looks like this, go ahead and accept that. Alright, so we now have a plane out here that we can draw our next sketch on. So come to your icon, select it, the flyout pops up, sketch. Mine doesn't orient normal to me when I move on to my second sketch, but I'm going to orient it using the shortcut command of a Control-8. I don't want to draw this sketch again, so what I want to do is I want to convert entities, and it's asking what I would like to convert. I'm going to expand this out, and I'm just going to select sketch 1, and then I want to accept it. I want to use a Control-7 command, and now notice I'm fully defined. I didn't have to do anything except let the computer do the work for me. So I want to exit this sketch as well. One thing I'd like to do at this point though is actually hide plane 1. It's going to get in the way of our graphics in just a little while, so select it. Mine is the glasses because I'm probably using an older version of what you have, so yours is probably going to be the eyeball. Alright, so now we want to loft a surface from here to here, but we want to use some guide curves because this is going to be pretty boring. So we would like to create a sketch on the front plane. So come hover over the icons, pick on the icon, flyout pops up, use the sketch tool, and Control-8. Alright, so I'm going to draw two vertical lines and a 3-point arc, and then add a sketch fillet. So come pick a regular line command, one mouse click, hold it down, pull it down, let it snap vertical, release it, and another one down in this general area here. One mouse click, hold it down, pull it vertical, release it. So our next command is going to be the 3-point arc command. So just drop your chevron mouse, make sure that you've selected 3-point arc. One mouse click, second mouse click, pull it in this general area, not over here, but in this general area, and place it down. So smart dimension, we want the upper vertical line to be 1. The lower vertical line, we would like for it to be 2. The radius itself, select the radius. We want it to be 10. And now we want to add some sketch fillets. So let's come up and select sketch fillet. Instead of it being 0.38, we would like for that to be 5.0. So 5.0. Alright, I do want to pick this vertex and this vertex and accept it. Now, we are floating out in space, so we really can't have that. We want to make sure that we fully define where this sketch is, because we need it to guide. We need it to be connected to this sketch and this sketch. So we want to come up and use our add relations command. So I'm going to drop the chevron down, not display and delete, not fully defined, but add relations. Select your add relations, make sure nothing is selected in our command field over here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit where I can see what's going on. I'm going to pick the upper endpoint of our upper line and this upper horizontal line, and now I want to add a pierce relation. So that's just placing that endpoint on that line. We're going to do the same thing for the lower line as well. So the lower endpoint of the vertical line and this lower horizontal line as well, we want to pierce that. We are now fully defined. I'm happy with this, so I want to exit this sketch. So Control 7. Everybody hit your escape key a couple times to make sure that your sketches are ghosted out so we can move forward. We still want to work on the same plane, so we're going to create a sketch exactly like that on this other side, but this time we're going to use a convert entities command as well. So come to your front plane, select it, sketch, Control 8. Now when I convert this, I also have to turn this into construction after I'm done mirroring it across. So I want to use a center line command to have something that I can mirror across. So I'm going to come to the origin itself, one mouse click, pull it up to the midpoint of my upper sketch and release it. I want to hit the escape key a couple times and see where it says convert entities, so select convert entities. Now I'm gonna do it the long way this time. So I'm gonna pick this line, this arc, this arc, this arc, and this line. So now I have all of those selected in here, so I want to accept it. Alright, so now I'm a little bit redundant. I have a sketch on this side that's the exact same as the other sketch that I drew in sketch 3. So what I want to do is I want to mirror that across. So mirror entities, I have nothing in here. I'm going to take it the easy route. I'm just going to draw a selection window. This is what I want to mirror across. And now it says mirror about, so I'll force it down here. So now I'm selecting what I want to mirror it across, and the construction line that I drew a little while ago. So I pick it. It gives me the highlighted outline. That is what I want. Now the problem is I have two lines over here, but I can only use one at a time. So what I want to do is I want to make this conversion into construction geometry. So I'm going to draw a selection window around it, and I want to make it for construction over here. Select it and accept it. Everyone use your Control 7 command and your sketches should look like this. So we have, exit your sketch. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4 sketches. Right? So we want to do the same thing, but we're going to do it on the right plane. Same thing that we did just between sketch 3 and sketch 4. It's a little bit different in dimensions, but pretty close. So on the right plane icon, pick the icon, the flyout opens up, select sketch. Control 8 shortcut if yours doesn't orient normal. Alright, so I'm going to come select a line command. Same general area, one mouse click, pull it down, release it. One mouse click, hold it down, release it. 3-point arc, endpoint, endpoint, this general area, and we're good. So smart dimension, upper line, 1, lower line, 2, radius, I want less of a radius, so it's actually going to be a bigger number, so it's going to be 15. And now we want to add some sketch fillets on here as well. So we're going to come sketch fillet. I still like the 5-inch, so we pick it, this vertex, and we pick this vertex, and we want to accept it. Alright, same thing as what we had before. This thing is kind of floating out in space, so we need to make sure that we fully define it. So how we're going to do that is adding relations. So drop your chevron down, add relations. I have nothing in my selection window picked, so I'm going to come to the uppermost endpoint and this upper line, and I want to pierce it. Same thing with the lower endpoint. Lower endpoint, lower horizontal line, and pierce it as well. We should be fully defined, and we are. I'm happy with that. So we want to exit our sketch. Click out in the modeling space, Control 7. So we now have 5 sketches. You can hover over them and they'll turn orange, kind of show you what's going on. So we want to do the same thing as we did here. We had to mirror it across, okay? So we want to come to the right plane, click on the icon, flyout pops up, select sketch command. We want to use a Control 8 to normal to us. We want to start with a center line, so drop it down. I want to start on the triad, 1 mouse click, come up to the upper midpoint, a 2nd mouse click, and now we can convert entities because we want to convert this sketch here. So convert entities. It's asking what we would like to convert. This time I'm going to show you something a little different, so we expand our tree, and I want to convert sketch 5. So I can pick it from the tree as well. So fully accept it. Now we want to mirror that across. So come up and select mirror entities. The entities I would like to mirror are these. So I'm just going to draw a selection window around it. And now I have to force it down into the mirror about. And I want to mirror it about this line that we just drew. And we want to accept it. Now this conversion is still a solid line, and we also have sketch 5 that is a solid sketch. So we want to make this side over here for construction. So I'm going to draw a selection window around this side only, and I want to come over to the left hand side and change it to construction and accept it. So everyone use a Control 7 command. I'm still in the sketch, so I want to exit my sketch. I want to hit the escape key a couple times to make sure that I don't have any commands picked. And now we're ready to create our first loft. So we have a sketch and a sketch that I want to loft from to, and I want to use a guide curve, and I want to use a guide curve, and I also want to use a 3rd guide curve and a 4th guide curve to change the shape of what our surface model is going to look like. In this case, I don't want to use a lofted boss base. We're worried more about surface modeling, so we want to use insert. I have my surface models over here, but I want to show you where yours are probably hiding. So insert, surface, loft. Now it's asking what profiles. Now do yourself a favor. Don't pick here and pick here, because it's going to cross things up and you'll have to move the nodes around. Kind of picking the same quadrants on each sketch. So we want to pick this bottom sketch and the upper sketch, and now we have a straight square tube. So I want to move my selections down here to the guide curves. So pick it, and now our 4 curves are kind of difficult to see, when you first get going with this. So pick a guide curve, and you're beginning to add some shape. Now I'm going to come pick the opposite guide curve, and it's looking more like a figure 8. And now we have our other guide curves, which are 90 degrees away from those two, and we have to pick our 4th guide curve. And now we want to accept that. So we now have a surface that looks like that. Control 7. There are times where these bodies and sketches tend to get in the way. So what I want to do is I want to hide this body so it doesn't really interfere with what we're trying to do. So if you notice over here at the very top, we've got surface bodies 1. We only have 1 body at the moment. We're getting ready to have 3 or 4 of them, and then we're going to knit them together. So I want to come select surface bodies, and I want to hit the eyeball and hide that. Now, the other part about it is we have all of this reference geometry that's here as well. So, but I want to show sketch 2. So I've opened up my surface loft because it had that plus sign right there. So that tells me that there's something underneath it. So I'll open that plus sign up. I don't want sketch 1, but I do want sketch 2 showing. So I'll select it, select the eyeball. So it's showing. Now, the other thing is I want to add some reference geometry here. So I'm going to drop my chevron down, and I want to create a plane. Now the plane where I want to create it from, I'm going to expand my tree out. I don't want to use the planes that the program gave me. I want to use the one that we created earlier. So I select plane 1. But I don't want it 9 inches up. I want it 3 inches up. So select 3. And it should look like that. And go ahead and accept it. Alright. So what I want to do here is I want to create another sketch on this plane. So come to plane 2, select the icon, fly out pops up, select sketch, use the Control 8 command, and we want to draw just a simple circle. So come up and grab a circle by center, make sure you are on your origin, one mouse click, hold it down, release it, smart dimension, pick the arc, and we want it to be 1.25 and accept it. Control 7. I am fully defined because I look down at the bottom right hand side, so I can exit this sketch as well. Alright, this plane, I don't particularly like my plane showing because I kind of get a little bit confused. So we want to come select the plane and we want to hide it. Now, same thing as we did earlier. We're going to need our 4 reference sketches. So here we go again. So on the front plane, select the icon, select sketch, Control 8. Alright, so I'm going to draw a couple lines, but this time they're really not vertical in one another. They're still vertical, but we're going to move them around a little bit. So select a line, pick here, hold your mouse down, release, and now we're going to draw another one down here. So pick and release, and we want to draw a 3-point arc again. So end point to end point, we want to pull it down like this and release. So now we want to do some smart dimensions. So smart dimension, upper line 0.5, lower line 0.5. Don't be too concerned if it moves your sketch around. It's trying to auto scale and it kind of moves things on its own. So we want to select this arc here, and I think I want it to be 5. Sure, 5. Now we also need some sketch fillets here because the transition is just going to be miserable. So we want to sketch fillet, and this time instead of it being 5 inches, we want it to be 0.75. Sure, 0.75, and I pick this vertex and this vertex, and I accept it. Now I'm going to mouse it around just a little bit where you can see what's going on. Now we want to add relations. So come up. I notice still have my sketch command, but we're going to select add relations. It's going to terminate that and move on. So I'm a little higher, so what I want to do is I want to pick the bottom. So I'm going to pick this bottom endpoint and this bottom line, and I want to use the Pierce command. So it brings it down. Same thing. If I select something completely independent of those two, it's going to accept that and move on. So upper endpoint and the circle itself, and I also want to pierce that. We are now fully defined. So accept it, fully defined on the bottom right, exit your sketch, Control 7, and it kind of fits just this because we have all that other stuff hidden. So it's going to fit what's visual to our screen. So we want to create another sketch, and we're going to convert these entities as we've done before. So front plane, sketch, Control 8. Now we want to use a regular line. We want to use a center line. I'm going to come find the midpoint of this. One mouse click, hold it down. I want to find the midpoint of this upper one, and I want to release it. So now we have something that we can mirror across. So we want to convert entities as well. So convert entities, I could pick these, or I can expand our tree down, and I know that sketch 8 was the one that we actually had done just previously, so I select it and accept it. Now I want to mirror this to the other side, so mirror entities, make sure nothing's in your selection box. I'm going to draw a window around it, so it's picked all of that. I know it has it over here. The mirror about command, I'll make sure I move my selection window down, I want to pick the center line that we just drew. It gives me the preview, and now I accept it. Now this one's still a real line. It affects what we're trying to do, so we want to make sure that we turn it into construction. So I'm going to draw another selection window around all of that, and I want to make it construction. So accept it, Control 7. I'm happy with that. We're fully defined. Bottom right hand corner tells us so, so exit your sketch. Hit your escape key a couple times. So now we have to draw them here. So we've got to do that on the right side plane. So we pick the icon for the right plane, edit your sketch, Control 8. We want to pick a line, vertical line, 3-point arc, pull it down this direction, smart dimension, 0.5. Notice mine scaled it and moved it around, so this we want to be 8. No, too much. I want it to be 5. Sketch fillets. Let's go ahead and add those. We want that on that vertex and this one on this one. Accept it. And now we have to add our relations. Notice when it scaled mine, it forced mine down, so I want to start from the other end just to keep things rolling. So add relations. Make sure you have nothing selected. Upper end point of the line, the circle, pierce relation. Same thing for the lower. We're going to add something independent of the other two, so pick the end point of the bottom line and the horizontal, and we want a pierce relation as well. Accept it, Control 7. Happy with it, we're fully defined. Exit your sketch and click out in the model space. So we want to do the same thing again. So right side plane, sketch, Control 8. I'm going to need to draw a center line. So come here, pull it up, let it snap. Convert entities. I want to convert the last sketch that we did was 10. I want to accept it. I want to mirror that across. What do I want to mirror? I want to mirror all of these entities. I want to mirror about, so I had to force it down. I want to put it on that. I want to accept it. I'm going to use Control 7. Sorry, Control 8. And now I need to make this back into construction. So I'm going to draw a selection window around this side for construction. Control 7. Fully defined. Now I can exit my sketch. Alright, so I have one surface body. I need to add another couple surface bodies. So what I want to do here is I want to insert surface loft. Now I don't want to pick here and then the back corner of my circle. So I want to clear this out, make sure I've got nothing selected over here, okay? So I want to pick this line, that sketch, and this circle. Notice how it's kind of going up just straight. Now I have to force it down to guide curves. So to select guide curves, I want to pick this sketch, this sketch, this sketch, and this last sketch. It may ask me to pick the line. Okay, so I'm happy with that, and I accept it. So now the problem is, I think my sketch was swallowed up, my sketch 7. So I'm going to show sketch 7, okay? Now I have two bodies up here. One of them is not showing, so I'm going to expand this out. Notice how this one is ghosted and this one has color to it. Select it, pick your eyeball. So now I can still see this upper circle sketch. So we're just going to add like a, where you would put the screw threads on here. We're not going to have time to do that. So we're going to go come up to Insert, Surface, and Extrude. I'm going to come pick the circle. It's heading uphill, which is the direction I want. In this case, I think I want it about 1 inch tall. I'll take that and accept it. Alright, so now I want to show all these others. I also want to hide this sketch, and I want to hide this sketch, and we're good. So I want to show this body, and I want to show this body. Control 7. But when I rotate this thing around, look, we can see all the way through the bottom of it. So we need to do something at the very bottom. So I'm going to rotate it around to where I can see the very bottom. Sketch 1, I'm going to show it. Now, we want to do a surface fill down here. We can do a boundary surface, we can do a number of different things, but we just want to fill this in. So, insert, surface, fill, pick this bottom down here, and notice it put some color in there, and we want to accept that. So as I rotate this thing around, we no longer can see through here. So everyone use a Control 7 command. Alright, my sketch is showing. I want to hide it for the moment. So pick hide it. Now, if I try to put a fillet on here, it can't really do it because it thinks that there are 4 different bodies out here. So what I want to do is I have to sew all of these things together. I have to knit them together. So we want to come up to our insert command. Insert, surface, and knit. Alright, so I have nothing selected. I don't want to come pick all of them. I just want to draw a selection window around it. I want to make sure it has all the bodies, you know, because I did the body count, and now I can go ahead and accept it. And really didn't have any gaps in there or anything that I had to fill in to make sure that everything meshed together. So this is a pretty simple and straightforward model. So we now have how many bodies? We only have 1 surface knit body. Well, as we're looking at this, we really don't like the way that this transitions. So we're going to try one more surface command. So let's go to insert, surface, fillet. Let's make this 0.4. And I'm going to pick this bottom edge down here. It's going to give me the preview if you have full preview selected. I like that, so I'm going to accept it. Control 7. So we're looking at this. Now I want to come up and check evaluate. There is no mask properties because this is a surface model, so we have to do something. So come up here to features. We want to go to insert, boss base, very top one, thicken. Now this is going to thicken material on the outside, this is going to thicken material to both sides, and this is going to thicken material to the inside. 0.1 is fine. I'm just going to leave it to the outside. I come pick the body and I accept it. And now what I want to do is I want to check my evaluate tab, and mask properties is out there. I don't have any material selected, but it does tell me the volume that I have in the surface area. So I know if I added material to it, we could find out what this thing would weigh and all sorts of other stuff. So that's it for this model. Make sure that you save it in the proper file saving format and submit that in your LMS.